everybody. I'm Kristen.
And I'm Rachel.
And this is, So I'm Watching Gilmore Girls, Season 2, Episode 16. There's the rub.
We hate Dean.
Oh my god. He's just...
I want to make a sign.
Just the worst. We should just get t-shirts.
Yeah.
This
Dean hate
This
account.
is a Dean hate account. The good thing is that, like, most people don't like Dean. So, like, we're not... I swear, after these last 2 weeks of these fucking comments on the videos... If we get so much as one Dean defense comment...
No, you're out of here.
I'm burning the YouTube to the ground.
Yeah, no, we're done. And I'll help you. I will Paris in this situation.
Yeah. So, like, okay, I am gonna say something, and this is in no way a defense of his behavior, because his behavior is absolutely atrocious. All I'll say is that, like, it is extremely clear that his girlfriend has a crush on someone else.
I mean, yeah.
I mean, like, because we know things, because, you know, I've seen it before and we live in a society, like, it's very clear that going forward, there's gonna be a thing. There's a whole love triangle. So it's like, you can't even be like, Dean, you're crazy. There's nothing going on, because there's obviously something going on.
Mm-hmm.
It's just not as...
What an opportunity to gaslight Dean. I would have loved that, though.
Oh my god, so funny. It just hasn't progressed to the point that he thinks it has.
Yeah.
You know, like, he thinks she's actively, like...
But it's just like, so then all you're doing is pushing her into the arms of Jess.
100%.
You were, like, a prison of your own making.
Yeah.
Ugh.
He's a self-fulfilling prophecy.
I hate him.
It's awful.
I hate him
Super
so
awful.
much.
Okay, so the point of this, there's two main things in this episode, like usual. Emily has won an auction at some charity thing to go to a spa for the weekend, and she's going to give it to Lorelai, but then Lorelai makes it sound like so much fun that she's like, well, we'll both go. So Lorelai is, like, going into it not super excited, but
not excited at all.
She's sort of excited that because she's, like, arranged their schedules totally opposite, so they're not actually spending time together, but then Emily had called ahead and scheduled them for a bunch of stuff together.
She got them a limo. It
was really cute.
It was.
It was really cute, and especially given the conversation they have at the end where she's like, why can't we be like you and Rory? This was clearly what she was trying to do. Like, let's have a fun weekend, like a mother-daughter weekend, it'll be great. And I think part of the problem is that Lorelai is still not prepared for that kind of gesture from Emily. But also it's like, and again, regardless of how unhealthy it is, she and Rory are best friends. And so it's like the mother-daughter part of it is not, like, the main part of their relationship, like it is with Emily and Lorelai. And so it's, like, very hard to kind of go backwards into that kind of relationship, despite the fact that they're both adults. And so basically, the other half of the episode is because Lorelai is going to be gone for the weekend, Rory is really looking forward to having a night all alone to herself in the house so she can order Indian food and do her laundry the way she likes to do it, which is very anal, but it sounds amazing.
A perfectly reasonable
Totally reasonable.
Like, I can't understand why everyone thinks it's so weird that she just wants to be by herself.
Yeah, okay. So I will let Paris's attitude about it slide a little.
Oh yeah, but she's just desperate for connection. Yeah. So like she didn't bother me, but I am just kind of like, you were the 50th person that has
give
like
her this shit.
Yeah, and I'm just like, no more. Yeah. Let her be by herself.
100%. Also, so much shade on Chinese food in this episode or Indian food. Sorry. Indian food smells incredible. I would love for my house to smell like Indian food for, like, a day after I ate Indian food.
I mean, Indian food is not my favorite, but also our house didn't smell bad when we had it.
Also, what she's ordering sounds amazing. Also, I didn't realize that she likes spicy food so much. That bitch got vindaloo. That's, like, one of the spicier ones.
Oh, is it?
Especially for, like, Americanized Indian food. I'm sure there's way spicier food actually in India.
Oh, yeah.
But I like vindaloo. That's, like, the first Indian food I ever had in New York. It was amazing. But yeah, she's getting garlic naan and chicken vindaloo and samosas and the green sauce, which is the best sauce. I feel like she was getting something else, but I can't remember.
Well, she said no salad.
No salad, yeah. I mean, regardless, it sounds amazing. So that's what she wants to do. She wants to order Indian food because Lorelai doesn't like the smell, and she wants to do her laundry separated, not just lights and darks, but then separating all the darks by different colors, like light, medium, and darks, and like all of this stuff. And it's like, that sounds great.
Yep.
I'm so happy for you if that's what you want to do on a Friday night. So Dean is like, I know your mom's out of town, so why don't I come over? Which is like a little in the first place, like,
whatever.
Why do you have to be here? Like,
I mean, I guess.
Yeah, but like, why do you have to come over when I'm alone? And so she's like, no, like, I don't want to do that. Like, I like plan this whole thing. I never get the day to myself or the night to myself. And also we're hanging out tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
That part, the like, we're hanging out tomorrow part is what's super annoying. And so then at school, Paris gets an A- on a chemistry, I assume. That was chemistry test. And Madeline and Louise have dates because it's Friday. We have a whole who's on first thing there. So they don't want to study. And so she finally, she cracks Rory down to like, if you feel bad still after the pop quiz, then I'll study with you every day next week. And she's like, okay, fine. And her explanation of what's going on with her parents.
Oh my God.
My dad finally figured out how much it's going to cost him to divorce my mom, so now he's back. And it would have been one thing if I just wasted all of that time helping him crunch the numbers.
Like, that poor girl.
Poor Paris. So she's like, my house is really weird right now, and I like it's like I don't feel good about like studying there and all this stuff. So, and she's never gotten an A- before in her life. It's a whole thing. So Rory does make that compromise, and she's like, okay, fine. And so then anyway, she does come over that night anyway.
Just
she's
shows
like,
up.
She's like, I couldn't study at my house. It wasn't working. Like, please. And so Rory's like, okay, fine, you can stay until my food gets here, and then you have to go. So she quizzes her, it's going well, and then the doorbell rings, and she thinks it's her food. And it is food, and also a snack.
Nice.
It's Jess with a care package from Luke. Full of diner food. It looks amazing. All the food at Luke's always looks great. So it's a bunch of burgers and fries, and there are salads in there because Luke is constantly trying to get them to eat their vegetables, but it's cute that Jess brought salad too. So yeah, it's like a whole bunch. And so then basically she's like, yeah, you can have some fries if you want, and you can have as much as you want. And he takes off his coat to sit down and hang out. And she's like, okay, fine. But then she forces Paris to stay and have dinner so that she's not. And that's the thing too, is like Jess is so good at reading her intentions at everything. He's like, oh, I didn't think you thought we needed a chaperone. And she's like, well, I don't. And it's like, yes, but you do. Because it would have been so much worse if Dean came over and it was just Jess.
Oh, 100%.
So, like, despite the fact that, like, Rory wouldn't cheat.
Right.
She's just friends with Jess.
Right.
And I realize as I say that some things are going to happen that negate that. But
again, if she were to step out of this relationship with the behavior that Dean is exhibiting, you dared me to do it.
100%.
So if you had just trusted me and listened to me and not been a big old bitch baby about it, it probably wouldn't have happened.
Yeah, 100%. Awful. So anyway, they are having the time of their lives.
Oh my God, it was incredible. I just wanted a whole episode of that.
Me too.
Literally.
Yeah. Paris is so happy about the food and the mac and cheese, and she's like,
oh my God, we need to talk about that. So when Rory tells Paris that she can stay, and because she was like so excited about the mac and cheese or whatever, and she called her housekeeper
the nanny,
to say that she was going to stay there, and then in Portuguese she was like, I'm going to stay at their house, and there's so much mac and cheese, and she's so happy. It made me so sad for her, but so happy because she's going to have like this fun night with mac and cheese.
She's so excited. It's so great. I love they're talking about books as they do. Jess predictably loves Charles Bukowski. And I mentioned, because I love that Paris is the one that's like, sure, you love like this, you know, so-and-so and so-and-so and Bukowski.
Kerouac and Bukowski.
But God forbid you pick up Jane Austen. And he's like, I've read Jane Austen. I think she would have liked Bukowski. And like, maybe, but also read more girls.
Yeah.
Read more girls for sure.
Everyone's just engaged.
Yeah.
And it's just the ideas are flowing. No one's having to like fake the conversation. It's just so nice.
It's so nice. They're eating all this food. He's like introducing Paris to salt and pepper dip. It's like, it's just really cute. And even Rory is having like a really good time. And then the phone rings and it's Dean. And he's like coming over with ice cream despite her express wishes that she be left alone for the night.
Yep.
And again, it's like, well,
and she stuck to her guns when she told him initially, even though he was like about
big
it.
Baby.
And she had to be like, please don't be mad. Please don't be mad. And that, oh God, that makes me, it breaks my heart because so many relationships and even like friendships too, where it's like, I was connected to someone who was like, anytime I stated my needs, it was a problem for that person.
Yeah.
And it's just like, that's not the way it should be.
Definitely not.
And he's just in there, I'm not mad. And it's like, it's literally wafting off of you.
Because it's also, there's such a vibe too of like, I'm not mad, I'm just disappointed. And it's like, you're not my dad.
Yeah. But it's also like, you are mad though. You are mad that I want to do things without you. Yeah. You are not the center of my universe. Which and that makes you fucking mad.
Goes back to the previous episode where it's like, you don't have to do everything together.
No!
Like, you should be able to do things differently. Like, okay, so like, let's even say, best case scenario, Rory was like, you can come over and hang out, but we're eating Indian food and I'm doing my fucking laundry, bro. And like, we can watch TV in between loads, but that's what we're doing.
Yep.
I still think he would have been like, that's boring. And it's like, okay, well, those are my plans. Yeah. You can come over and sit with me during my plans, or we can have the night apart and I can hang out with you tomorrow. Sometimes you just gotta get stuff done.
Yeah. I'm very much like, I have to go away. Like, I am very extroverted, but I am very much an introvert.
Yeah.
And I have to be by myself.
Sometimes.
And to, like, recharge.
Yeah.
And, like, to do my dumb shit.
100%.
And I fucking hate him.
No, he's awful. So she gets off the phone and because he's also just like not even listening. She's like, well, this and that and the other. And like, please, like, no, like I don't.
And he's like, hi, I'm being so romantic and cute. Okay,
be there
bye.
in a sec. Horrible. So she goes back into the kitchen and she's like, okay, wow, it's so late. And Jess is like, it's 7. And again, he reads her so perfectly because Paris is like, what's going on? And Jess just goes, Dean's on his way over. Like, he just knows. He knows what's going on. And so she's like, please, Jess, I just need, like, if you're my friend, I need you to go because this is going to be a big problem. And if you go, it's just going to be better. And so, well, she admits that Paris is there to Dean. And he's like, oh, so then I'm not ruining your night anyway. And it's like, it's like besides the point. Yeah, it's ridiculous. So Jess finally is like, okay, fine, I'll go. Like, that's fine. Like, how are you gonna break the news to him or something? And he's just outside. Dean's just outside with ice cream. And you are 100% correct. Jess is indeed a short king.
Oh my God.
Because he's like, he's not intimidated by the fact that Dean is taller than him, but he is aware of it.
He calls it out constantly. And he's like, you're doing the leering over me.
Towering over me thing again. And that's the thing is he calls it out to him to his face because he knows that Dean thinks it's intimidating or that it should be. And it's not. Like, Jess is just not intimidated at all.
Jess fucks.
Jess fucks for sure. For sure.
He goes down on ladies.
So like, that's kind of the whole thing. And so Dean is furious.
God.
Screaming at Rory again, just like the Christopher thing 2 episodes ago, screaming at Rory in front of basically a stranger to him. Unacceptable.
Yep, in her house.
In her own house.
You came into my house and screamed at me because of someone who I had in my house.
Yeah.
No.
Unacceptable. And so he basically is like, he also won't let her get a word in edgewise. And so she's trying to answer him and he's like, why aren't you saying anything? And she's like, well, you're fucking yelling at me.
Yeah. And he was like, and how does it look on my end of things? And she's like, it's really complicated. And I understand that. And I'm trying to explain it to you and you won't let me.
Yeah. And then the fucking goat, Paris, she's like, it's my fault. I saw Jess at the diner when I came a couple weeks ago, and, I'm really bad at flirting with boys, and I thought Rory could help me, and so she invited him over for me when I came today, and obviously it went terribly, and she does a whole ramble thing, and it's literally amazing, and Dean just, like, buys it, hook, line, and sinker.
No, he knows something's up.
I suppose, but he is sort of like, well, I guess I guess I have to believe you if that's what you say.
He was like, are you telling me that's what it is? And she's like, yeah. And he goes, okay, well, because you're telling me this, then I guess I have to believe you. Disgusting.
Horrible.
I'd rather you tell me you don't believe me.
Sure.
I would rather you just say, I don't believe you.
The other thing, too, is, like, if you weren't such an unrelenting cock, maybe you could have been at this dinner.
Right.
Maybe we all could have hung out.
Right. But you insist on being a 6'4" fucking idiot. I'm shorting out. I hate him. I hate him so much. I do. And then he apologized for yelling.
Yeah.
But you shouldn't be yelling.
Yeah.
And I forget how it was phrased.
Oh, no, he says, I'm sorry for yelling. And she says, completely justified given the circumstances. No, it's not.
No, it's not. But I was going to say, when I think, like, she was trying to, like, haphazardly explain the situation, like, because Perry was like, what's going on? She said something like, it wasn't about I'm doing a horrible job, but she says it's to avoid a fight with Dean.
Mm.
And it's just like, you shouldn't. That's really sad that already in your relationship, you are managing your interactions so that he doesn't turn it into a fight.
Yeah. Yeah.
It shouldn't be like that.
Definitely not.
Because, oh, God.
No, it's...
So many situations I've been in like that.
Yeah, it's really gross. I'm trying to see if, no, it was
was so specific in that she phrased it that way because it's like I'm making decisions to manage his reaction, rather than my life.
Wants and needs.
Yes, it is completely to manage his reactions.
Yeah, and that's the thing is,
so
like,
I don't get in trouble.
Exactly, it's the in trouble part, because that's the other thing too. Is like, I'm not arguing that there should be no fights in relationships.
No,
sometimes you have to fight, sometimes you have to disagree.
Yeah,
but like, it's been well over, like, probably 12 or 13 years since he and I had, like, a knockdown drag out. Since before we got engaged, I feel like.
And I mean, that's the way it should be. You should not, contrary to what we are taught, it shouldn't have to be like, oh, just so much fighting and passion or whatever. No, old dog love. Yeah. Should be old dog love.
It slaps.
It really does. Being a bystander to it is great. I can't wait for my old dog love. I cannot wait.
It's gonna happen. It's gonna happen.
I'm very optimistic.
Yeah. So, the end of this Rory and Dean story happens the next day, where also Rory is complaining to Lorelai. Lorelai's like, what's on the agenda for today? And she's like, oh, well, Dean, and Dean.
Yeah.
And it doesn't sound like she's excited about it.
No, I'm having to do penance.
Yeah. And then she's like, well, I'm probably having dinner with Dean too. So if you don't see me, and it's just like, you don't sound jazzed to hang out with your boyfriend. Like, this is not great.
No.
That's basically where that ends. But then she goes up to pay, and she is talking to Jess, and she finds out that Luke is not the one that sent the care package. It was Jess just decided of his own volition to go do that, which is darling.
So nice.
So sweet.
And he didn't know. I feel like, okay, I love that everyone talks about how much they eat, but we actually never see them eat. And that's always a complaint of mine, is that they leave just full plates of food all the time. But like, I feel like he brought her everything because it's like, I don't know exactly what she likes.
You want,
so bring her everything.
Well, and we did see them eat that. They put a dent in that food.
They did. I feel like that's the first time we've seen them actually like sit down and actively eat.
And then they're also doing construction to the diner because he bought the building next door, so they're expanding everything, and they keep on dropping drywall on all the customers and stuff. When Jess gives her that umbrella at the beginning during the cold open, so fucking funny because like the dust keeps falling down. And then at the end, because there's like fewer tables, Kirk is just like looming over them and is like, are you done yet? And Lorelai's like, we're gonna order seconds if you keep bothering me. So he's like, fine. But yeah, so when Rory's talking to Jess at the end, Dean is just leering from outside, and Lorelai comes out and is like, oh, hey, it's just like a crazy mistake or whatever. It's like,
having the conversation that Dean and Rory should be having. Yeah. Very calm about the relationship.
Yeah.
Why is he having that conversation with her mother? So gross.
So gross.
And inappropriate.
Yeah. It actually, what it reminds me of is all of the instances on Buffy where like the men are having Spike and Riley or like Angel and Giles. It's always like whoever is her love interest and then another man are having conversations about her relationship with him, like away from her. And I'm just like, what is this?
Yeah.
Gross.
And why is Lorelai having to be the champion of this relationship? Like, she's the one that's like really making sure they work out, and it's just so weird.
Yeah.
It's so weird.
Yeah.
If you're having to work that hard at it,
at your first high school relationship,
girl, get out of there. Get out. Woof.
Yeah. So he's like, yeah, she told me that that's all that happened and Rory wouldn't lie. And he clearly doesn't believe that Rory wouldn't lie. And Lorelai just is like, nope, Rory wouldn't lie. And it's just like, she's not technically lying.
No.
Either. It's just
she
like.
She doesn't know yet, but like.
But also it's like, she's a little bit lying, but it's because, again, she's worried she's going to get into trouble if she wants to be friends with Jess.
She is managing his reactions.
Which is gross.
She's not being like sneaky.
Yeah.
It's only purely white lie situation where it's like, I'm just making sure that I'm not having to clean up this mess.
100%.
That I'm not making! That everyone else is making around me!
Completely. Well, the other thing that I did appreciate in this one is Lorelai actually didn't seem put out about Jess specifically. Like, she wasn't like, of course that Jess came around and ruined everything, you know?
Yeah.
Like, and so that was sort of refreshing.
Thank God.
So the rest of the Lorelai and Emily at the spa thing.
Oh yeah, I forgot we didn't.
No, we didn't finish. They end up like, so Emily's super excited, but then they're like in a couples massage, and Lorelai is like, most people that go to do couples massages are having sex like right after. Like, what is this? Like, this is so crazy that you did this. And so they're getting ready for their like dinner seating, and it's just like lots of like kale and like sprouted mung beans and stuff. And she's like, we're not doing this. We're going to go find a steak. And so they get to this bar. It's very vibey. It's like a really like old school kind of nice like restaurant bar. Emily calls it a chop house later in a derogatory way, but it is just like a steakhouse. It seems nice. And they are sitting at the bar, and it's going well. It's going great. They're having like a lot of good stuff. They're like,
well, yeah, I mean, especially like once Emily called Lorelai out on being petulant about the whole like Emily was very annoying because she just wouldn't stop talking. But I think she was just
so excited.
Yeah. And she was just like, this is nice. Like she didn't know where to put it.
Yeah.
And so once like Lorelai got out of her own way. That's the problem. They are so similar because they just won't get out of
their own ways.
Yes.
Yeah. Their own respective ways.
Yeah.
They end up having a great time. They're having, peanuts and martinis, and Lorelai is like, I think we should get steaks and this and a Caesar salad if there's not too much anchovies, and like, what about a shrimp cocktail? And like, this just sounds amazing. Like girl dinner, like really good. Yeah. I know it's not technically girl dinner, but like
girl appetizers,
girl dinners for sure. So they're having a really good time. Lorelai explains that it's actually a 60-40 bar, not a singles bar, because it's like 60-year-old men and 40-year-old women. And then a guy, what is his name, was Chad?
Chad.
That's sort of nuts.
Yeah. I thought, like, at first I was like, Chaz, that makes sense. And then he was like, Chad, hard D. And I was like, you're too old for
Maybe like
Chad.
Chadwick, like one of those. Like
I guess, but I would have liked Chaz better.
Name, yeah.
Short for Charles.
Sure. But yeah, so they are, he's sort of like eyeballing Emily, and she's like, oh, please, no. And then he ends up coming over and asking her to dance, and they do to like a fast song, but then a slow song comes on, and they start dancing to that too, and Emily freaks out.
He was in her face.
He was.
Like, sir, I just met you. Please do not put your facial
don't
oil
put your face on my
face. Don't do that. Like, I already have a weird thing about people touching my face as it is, but like, sir, I don't know you.
So I agree.
We need room for Jesus, right?
No, I agree. However, she freaks out so hard and is like, I basically cheated on your father. And it's like, no, you didn't. Like, you're fine. And then she blames everything on Lorelai. She's like, you made me do this. You forced me to come here. Like, and I'm just like, you guys were having like a great time. And then this is like, you just like got spooked. And like, I don't know that they paid for dinner either. They were like still eating.
Well, Lorelai walked back, and I think she probably paid.
But yeah, it was like, it's still sort of, whatever. So they get back to the hotel. That's where they have the conversation about why their relationship isn't the same as Lorelai and Rory's relationship. And then in order to bond, Lorelai's like, we need to steal these robes that you've been obsessed with the whole time. And she's like, well, they're just going to charge our credit cards. And it's like, that's not the point. Like, it's like the
this
experience.
Is something small that that the two of us did together.
Exactly. And she even is like, would Rory steal the robe? And she's like, oh no, she would never steal. And so it's like just a, so I just think it's like, it's really cute. So they end on like an up note, which is nice. But yeah, I love this episode. There's like a good string of episodes.
This one was really good.
Too. Yeah.
Yeah, this one was good. I feel like we haven't seen Richard in a fortnight.
He's always just a special guest star because I think, what even Edward Herman, I think he doing like other stuff too. So he like signed on just to be like sometimes. So, but yeah, good episode. Good Paris. And cause then also Rory invites Paris
to sleep over.
Yeah.
And Paris was like, why?
Yeah.
And
she's
she
like, well,
was
we're friends.
Yeah. And
she was like, I love that she was like, you're only doing this because I covered for you with Dean. And she's like, well, we're friends, right? And Paris was like, are we? And she goes, well, I'm not really sure there's a dictionary definition for this relationship, but friends is as good a place to start as any.
It was nice. Yeah. Paris needs a friend.
I was going to say, she like always stays very intense, but they are like, not so much while they're still in high school, but they're more friendly, obviously, going forward. But once they go to college, they are besties. Like, Lane is obviously still there, but, like, Rory is not in Stars Hollow all the time anymore. So it's like, yeah, her and Paris are, like, best friends. Yeah. Best friends. Just like Sheena. But yeah, love this one.
It was really good.
Yeah. What's the next one? Oh, yeah, no. Well, we're not doing the next one today anyway. Okay. But it's pretty good. It's fine. It's like it's fine, but it's not that amazing. But yeah, so that was it. Let us know what you think and like, subscribe, and we will see you next week.
Bye.